And today I have Mr. Walker Keaton joining me. Walker is trains out of Reaction MMA in Nicholasville, Kentucky. Coming in to fight this Saturday against Lamont Askew from Winchester. So Walker, it's been what, 2 years since almost 3 years now since your last fight. So what made you decide to get back into everything?
Well, so what happened was after my last fight, I'd already made plans to go ahead and drop down to 185 from heavyweight. But I'd been out of action for so long that I just wanted to get in the cage. So I took that fight. My last fight didn't go the way we wanted. And then the plan was already to start dropping weight. And then literally the next month after that fight, I tore my knee again. So that put me down for another year. And then just going through rehab and stuff. This time I wanted to make sure when I got back in the cage, I was 100% physically and ready to go. Not only my knee, but then now I had to get back in fight shape. So it was just a long, grueling rehab to get back to where I needed to be, to get back healthy.
Yeah. So injuries set you back, and I mean, we've tried to match you on a few cards. It's been hard to find guys to fight you. You and Ryan both. They're around 205. Yeah. They've seen your wrestling. They've seen, I guess, Ryan's boxing, and it's been hard to get you guys matched. Lamont, I don't think he even thought about it. I sent him your name. He looked up some videos, said he'll take it. He's game. So glad he came along, and he's looking to make waves here. Similar size. He's been training for a long time. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's just going to be definitely going to be a little bit of a clash of styles, it seems like. But looking to be a good fight, man. Two big, strong guys. So I know a little bit about your gym. Tell us about what got you into combat sports, and how did you make your way to Reaction?
So funny story, man. So when I was a kid, I think most kids are huge wrestling fans. And so my uncle, he was actually training at a gym here in Lexington at the time, doing jiu-jitsu. And he told me that Brock Lesnar was going to have a fight. And so I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, he's going to do like some real fighting. I didn't even know what the UFC was. And so he was like, you want to go watch him like try and fight someone for real? I was like boxing? And he was like, no, it's MMA. I was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Yeah.
So he takes me to Buffalo Wild Wings here in Lexington. We sit down. It's UFC 81. And that whole fight card was stacked from top to bottom. Like every fight was good. Ricardo Almeida was on there. Nate Marquardt was on there. And then Frank and Brock were the co-main, actually. And then Nogueira and Tim Sylvia were the main event for the heavyweight interim title that fight. So, but yeah, that whole card honestly was a good first card to watch if you were a fan. So for me, someone getting into it, I was like, wow, this is cool. And then sure enough, the Frank fight happened. Frank Mir and Brock fought. And Frank ended up winning. He subbed him, and I was like, "What the hell just happened?" Because I'm 12 years old. I don't know shit. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that. I'm like, how did he do that? And my uncle's like, that's jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, well, I want to start learning this. And then sure enough, the Nog fight happened, and it was kind of the same thing, man. And which ironically, that seems to be Nog's like whole career is he just like gets beat up and then he subs you. But yeah, like because Tim Sylvia was like 6'8", 200 some pounds. I was like, Jesus Christ! And then sure enough, boom. Nog puts the gilly on it and wins. So I was like, whoa. I was like, man, I got to learn this. And so the next thing I know, man, I go home that summer. I packed all my stuff up. I moved to Lexington to live here with my dad, my uncle. I started training. And then, so the gym I was training at, Rob trained there too before. And then I actually missed him by like 2 weeks. He left that gym. And so I trained at that gym for about a year. And then my uncle knew Rob just from when they used to train together, like way back in the day. And sure enough, they took me over to his gym, man. We were at a little tiny area, no bigger than a bedroom at the Omni Center. And sure enough, I met with Rob. I met him once. We trained together. He taught me how to box, a little bit of jiu-jitsu. And man, it was kind of just it from there. I think this is the place where I need to be. And at that time, the only fighter he really had out of it there under him was a guy named Matt Metz. And so it was like him and Metz trying to build a fight team. And then the
Hmm.
next thing you know, man, he built that thing from the ground up. I was training with him. I've been with him since I was like 14. So, and
So
that was, yeah,
you've seen pretty much the entire evolution of reaction MMA.
I have, man, from his like little tiny garage at the Shillato Apartments to where we are now.
And then how exciting is it to see the next chapter unfold here in the next few months?
Man, it's pretty exciting, and I'm happy he's finally going to get a building of his own. It's going to be big. It's going to have everything we want. He can build it how he wants, put anything where we want. So we're super stoked about that. And then, but more stoked about just being able to finally be healthy and compete, and so we can
Yeah,
start really getting because reaction. Really, when you look at it, I mean, it seems like we've been around. It's such a young gym in comparison to like almost a lot of like any big name
yeah,
gym you want to call out there. And so we really haven't been around that long. And so now we're really kind of starting to pick up and starting to compete more and get to where we want to be as far as like not just MMA wise, but also jiu-jitsu wise. So, because we definitely made more of a transition into a more jiu-jitsu heavy gym with a lot of competing, going to IBJJFs. I went to ADCC trials just last month. And so, we're all out here trying to just, put our name, not just be a bigger gym, here locally. We want to be, nationally and globally known. So we're just trying to make waves, man.
yeah. And you're getting to compete next to your professor, and I've seen he was ranked 2 or 3 in the world last year
I
for
think,
IBJJF.
yeah, I can't, at the end of the year, I think he actually ended up being ranked number one at the end. He placed third at Worlds for
Yeah.
no gi. So, but then like the IBJJF overall rankings, I think he ended up finishing first overall.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's impressive. I mean, he's just like coming right out of multiple knee surgeries and then going right into being at the top of the world in jiu-jitsu.
Well, I tell you what's even funnier, man. Actually, when I left my old gym to come train with Rob, like he was like a 2-stripe blue belt, if that. And so, like, I don't know. Normally, if you tell somebody like, "Man, I'm gonna learn from this 2-stripe blue belt," like it sounds
Yeah.
stupid, and there, you know what I mean? Like you're like, "All right, whatever, dude." But sure enough, man. Like, so I've been there from his progression, not just here recently, but like from the beginning when he was like he started the gym when he was like 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So like and now I'm like his age and I'm like, Jesus, I could imagine starting a gym right now. Because yeah, I'm definitely more of a competitor and think about myself.
Yeah.
And so he was competing, well, he was fighting. We weren't
Yeah.
really competing in jiu-jitsu then. We were trying to line up fights for guys. And fight camps are grueling, man. Jiu-jitsu camps, man, you could do back to back to back. You could do jiu-jitsu every month. It's no problem. It's not that
Hmm.
hard on the body. But we were doing fight camps not just for, him, but other guys. We had a huge
Yeah.
fight team way back. And so we were doing that. Yeah, so like you want to talk about him coming off the knee surgeries and stuff, like I've done that too. Listen, man, I remember when we were just like some little like bum hole in the wall no bigger than my kitchen here at the house, and
Yeah.
and now he's a legit, very credible black belt. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, and honestly, yeah, it actually bothers me sometimes, man, because I go places and, um, like, I've been to some pretty big name gyms and I tell people, where I train at. And I'm like, oh, I'm out of this gym in Lexington, Kentucky, Reaction MMA, and nobody's ever heard of it. And it
Yeah.
kind of puts a little fucking chip on my shoulder if I'm being honest. And it really, I kind of gives, I don't know, I'm pretty self motivated, but it gives me a little extra gear and training to, especially come like competition time, because like Rob's an extremely good coach and extremely good high level black belt too. And
Yeah.
so like I want to compete and do well and start to get us known so we can start getting the credit that we all deserve. We started this
Yeah.
thing I was here from the beginning with him. So now to see where we're going, it's awesome. We're definitely in the right trajectory, but I want to see us get more than what we have. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want us getting the TV shows on Flow. I want us getting on the big who's number one grappling cards, getting guys to the UFC and the ONE FCs and all that stuff. So
You guys have the right setup for it, and I mean, I've only been here since 2021, so I've been in Kentucky for almost 3 years now.
Okay.
But I mean, I've seen the growth there since I've been here, and I
Hmm.
trained there for a very short period of time with my son. And I mean, at the time, that was the biggest gym I had been to,
Yeah.
and just the growth I've seen there since then. And then I mean, and the banners on the wall speak for themselves. And there's so many banners and trophies, medals in that place. And I mean, you guys are winning every event you go to, every tournament you go to. You're coming home with the first place trophies, and it's and I feel like this next step is gonna even grow on that because I mean the place is full right now. I mean you guys are dominating everything, and you got a waiting list for people to get in the gym because there's just not enough mat space,
Hmm.
and I mean you got what 40, 50 people there on a slow day,
Yep.
so. It's I mean it's a big deal, man. I mean on the world stage it may not be a big name,
Yeah.
but guys like you, I mean yeah, like you just talked about, you're working on that, and you're
And I
part. I
think
mean yeah, being part of Team S was it SAS is
yeah,
I
sauce
don't,
team.
yeah, so they're I see them around with Georgia's place, and then they got a place in West Virginia, and I'm thinking one in Pennsylvania. Man, I can't remember, but I've seen them. I've seen SAS around
Yeah,
Sauce.
well, and what's sauce team actually is technically fairly new as well because we used to be under the big giant one Nova Uniao. So if anyone's ever heard of Nova Uniao, they used to have guys like it was a big fighter jiu-jitsu gym, or jiu-jitsu lineage. Yeah, I know that's where like Jose Aldo and guys like that came from. So we were originally under Nova Uniao, and then Master Zazinho he broke off, and then that was when he made Sauce Team, and so technically Sauce technically been around even longer than that.
Yeah.
They just branched off and finally kind of used their own name. So that's kind of where that came from.
So how did that make? Did anything change at your gym throughout that transition?
Not really.
Not really.
Other than that, other than just they finally got their own patch, and so we
Yeah.
had instead of just having the JG, George Gazelle's logo with the diamond on our stuff too, we added the sauce patch on there as well. And then
Okay.
we finally got the. It was pretty cool. Finally, Master Zarzino finally made his way to the States and came to our gym. So that was cool. We got to have him in for a seminar, and then his younger brother Gibson. He actually runs a school down in South Carolina. We've got to train with him a couple times now too. So that was like my first time meeting them in my whole time here.
Yeah.
So that was really fun, awesome. Master Sardino is like a super cool guy. He's like old school too, like because he was like the oldest, so he had to like carry the banner because there's three brothers, and then they've got one brother back home, Hobson. He runs the headquarters gym out there in Brazil, and then so like Master Sardino, he was like hardcore man. He was doing like the old Valley Tudo fights. He did Muay Thai and all that, and so like he's like, and his style of jujitsu, it trickles down for sure to all of us.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see because being with Professor George, he's got a very specific style and it's definitely rubbed off on us. And then once we met Master Zazinho, I was like, okay, this is definitely where all this came from. So, but other than
George
that,
is a guy. George is a guy I've known about for a long time. Um, Going back to when I was training at one of his affiliated gyms in Huntington, West Virginia.
yeah.
I've seen George in grappling competitions. I've seen him fight at MMA, and it's dude. I don't know what it is when he fights MMA. He's like Vanderlei Silva, man. It's like forget the jujitsu. He's putting on a show. He's going to war, man. George never seen him in a boring fight.
No, that I think he struggled with that for a lot of years too, because people gave him hell all the time. They're like, George, why don't you just take him down, submit him? And he's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. He's like, I was just did his thing, man. But
yeah. The bell rings. George is trying to take your head off. He's
that's
not
for
trying
sure.
to. Yeah,
Hey, something you need to watch out for up there now too, because he's huge with his Muay Thai team right now. That is something that like is not talked about enough. Like, and because people you might not hear Professor George's name in like jujitsu a lot right now, but buddy, he is killing it with his Muay Thai team. They are freaking a lot. They got a lot of young guys up there, guys I trained with. And they got my buddy Will, Zane,
Yeah,
Jackson. They got some other guys up there, man. His Muay Thai team. I go up there on Wednesdays to spar sometimes, and good for the light sparring days.
yeah,
And man, those dudes are killers right now. I don't. George has always loved Muay Thai. He's always loved striking. Clearly, you can see that by his fights. And
yeah,
um, dude, he is building a nasty Muay Thai team right now. Like those dudes are sick.
yeah. Hope to. Well, I guess we're not doing any Muay Thai here in Kentucky,
No,
but I'm about to check out what they're doing. I guess they're competing a lot in Ohio. I would say
yeah, that man everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, they don't care. They'll travel. They go to Indiana, Ohio. I think they do one Michigan. I'll have to ask them, but yeah, those boys travel. They don't care. They fight anytime, anywhere.
So, have you fought any boxing, kickboxing, or MMA yet?
No, I was wanted to. Never got a chance. Always been in high school. I was always focused on wrestling.
Yeah,
So when wrestling season came around, I honestly wasn't even in the gym that much. Maybe
yeah,
come in for boxing every now and then. Tried to stay away from jiu-jitsu because if you get comfortable going to your back, then you just get stuck. You just get pinned in wrestling. So that was kind of defeated that purpose. So
yeah,
high school was always really more worried about wrestling. And then uh, once I became of age, I left. I did my military thing, and then now it's like I'm to the age now. It would be fun to take boxing, like maybe an amateur or amateur kickboxing match, but I'm to the age now, and I've progressed so far with my grappling that like there's really no need for me to be trying to compete in boxing or kickboxing or anything like that. I mean, it could be a fun one-time experience.
yeah,
I've never done it. Would I maybe do it? Yeah, maybe. But it's to the point now to where my striking is being developed. I've got my game. It's made for MMA, and my
yeah,
grappling. My grappling, it transcends all three. I think there's three facets to grappling that nobody talks about. To be a really good grappler, you have to do gi, you have to do no gi, or submission grappling is what I call it, and then you also have to your jiu-jitsu. It also has to be able to work in a fight. So
yeah,
punches and grapple boxing and all that. And so if you don't have one of those three things, I don't think you can consider yourself like a real jiu-jitsu player, or at least not like, when you get up to these big names and stuff, and everyone wants to do these GOAT conversations and whatnot, your Hodger Gracies, your Gordon Ryans and stuff like that. Well, if you don't do all three, then you can't be in the conversation for me. So like me, where I'm at in my career, I'm so focused, like my grappling has really just started transcending. It was always definitely my focal point. It was always probably what I was
yeah,
best at. I'm just built to grapple. And all my wrestling in high school, it just made it even better. And now, and Rob, he is such a stickler to be in the gi. He makes me put the gi. If he doesn't necessarily make you put the gi on, but he makes you put the gi on. He's
it's
gonna give.
encouraged.
Yes, he's gonna give you shit. He's gonna talk that smack when you come in the gym. He's gonna let you know that you're not in the gi. And honestly, now I've got a lot of really good teammates too. And for me, it's an ego thing, though. Honestly, like
Yeah,
I don't, I don't want to because I'm a purple belt, and I don't want to go. So I need, and like I just said, I want to be good at all three of those things. Now, there's definitely specialists, man. And if I run into a specialist, hey, man, listen, there's some nasty, leg locking guys. There's some nasty dudes out there in the gi, and um, I may run into any of those guys. I need to be able to hold my own no matter what it is. Oh, you want to put the gi on? That's cool. I can put the gi on. Oh, you want to go no gi? You want to do submission grappling? I can do that too. Oh, you want to take me in a fist fight? Well, guess what, buddy? I can grapple you there too. And so for me, it's an ego thing. Like I got some really nasty dudes in the gym right now in the gi, and I cannot be slacking off or anything like that, man, because I have to be in the gi because when I do go to put it back on, I don't feel like getting my ass kicked, And so, um, yeah. So as far as like the striking and stuff goes, man, never had any of those. But you're gonna see me. You're not just MMA this year, but as far as jujitsu and submission grappling and things like that goes, I've already got a couple things lined up. I'm doing a tournament for main character in June down in Austin, Texas. I'm already signed up for that. I'm doing the Fuji here in Lexington in June. I got a big month of June, and then because I got
yeah.
right after Austin, I got to go to American Nationals in Vegas. I'm competing in that gi and no
Oh
gi.
shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of guys when they go places, they'll pick a tournament. They'll do gi or they'll do no gi, and which I can also understand as far as financially why you do that too, because it's
Yeah.
expensive sometimes to do both. I
Right.
get it. Trust me. Um, but I have the means to do both. So if I have the opportunity and there's a tournament and there's a tournament, well, I'm going to do gi and no gi because I'm
Yeah.
not here to talk my shit on one. I need to be good at both.
Coming here to
I'm
win
definitely,
everything.
I'll be the first to tell you, I'm definitely better at submission grappling. I'm definitely better out of the gi, but um, I'm no slouch in the gi. So, but yeah, no boxing, no kickboxing, but man, we're heavy on the grappling right now, and
Yeah.
all three facets of the grappling too. So,
So tell me about some of your accomplishments you've had in wrestling and grappling.
wrestling, I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't like a super stellar wrestler. In high school, I was okay. My freshman year, I had a knee surgery, and that really kind of like that set me back big time because my eighth grade year, I I came out really hot. Had a lot of people talking about me. I was ranked number one in the state. I didn't get to wrestle in the state tournament for middle school, but I beat the guy. The guy that ended up winning state, I beat him like three times, and so I'm quite sure I would have won that. But
Yeah.
then my freshman year, I was supposed to wrestle varsity my freshman year, and boom, I blew my knee out. So then sophomore year comes around. I wrestle at 133 and I was a beast, man. I remember that first tournament. I came out. I went 5-0. Things were going good. I had to change my style a lot because having that knee surgery really set me back. I couldn't shoot
Yeah.
the way I wanted to, and so my mat wrestling though got extremely good. And so I had to become a really good mat wrestler. And then my junior senior year, I decided I didn't want to make because I got hurt again my sophomore year, and I couldn't cut the weight to make 33 again. So then I was wrestling at 52 and I was a fat 152 if I'm being honest, and I won some matches just because I was pretty skilled. But wrestling's one of those things, man, that it's like you can be bigger and stronger than somebody and beat them even if they're more technical than you. It's not like
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu or anything like that where you can use angles that sometimes you can just get bullied and you can just get beat, and that's
Yeah.
plain and simple. Um, but yeah, so sophomore year I didn't even make state my sophomore year, and then junior senior year I made it to state and I wrestled at 182, but I walked around at like 170, if that. So I was giving up 12 pounds. And yeah, so I didn't place at all. I don't even think I won a match at state. So I wasn't no crazy accomplishments there. And then when I got to when I got out of high school, went straight to the Marine Corps, did my thing, came home, and then when I came home, it was definitely more geared towards fighting. And then I really didn't compete in jiu-jitsu a lot. I remember I competed at like the Arnold's one time. I got like a silver medal there. And then just recently now I've started to do like the IBJJFs and stuff. So I was looking into doing IBJJF Worlds for gi, but I decided against that. I'm going to do the main character thing instead along with American Nationals. I don't think I'd be ready in time because I was getting ready for ADCC trials
Hmm.
almost all year last year. So I went out, I did West Coast trials. I won my first match. I got DQ'd my second match. So things didn't go the way I wanted. No big deal. That was where I was looking to make some big waves was at trials. Shit happens. So now we're just looking forward, moving on to the next thing. But yeah, no crazy accomplishments. I've won some tournaments here and there. I've usually always played. Jiu-jitsu was never as big of a focal point because I was always trying to get ready for a fight or help somebody else get ready for a fight. So, but now, remember those three things I talked to you about? It was always grapple boxing. It was always having my jiu-jitsu ready for a fight. Well, now this is at the stage where I'm really trying to get the other two. I'm really starting to compete more. And this year is where we're really looking to put the accolades on, looking to win some IBJJF world titles. I missed Pans, so didn't get a chance to compete in Pans, but I think I'm going to try to compete. We're going to try to do a couple small IBJJFs here and there, but the big ones we're looking at are American Nationals, and then which is a pretty big tournament. And then it's not one of the majors, but it's up there. And then we're looking at doing Worlds in December, Nogi Worlds for Jiu Jitsu, and in December. And yeah, trying to get as many fights in as we can this year too. So hopefully turn pro next year for that. So
Yeah.
and then we'll start camp for the next trials whenever that rolls around because ADCC will be in August, and then whenever they announce the dates for trials next year, and then they'll have the ADCC the following year. Then we'll be getting ready for that. So
Yeah. So you've had a
yeah,
lot
so
of things not go your way early in your career. You got a lot left to prove, looks
yeah,
like, and you're really driven to do that at this point. Represent yourself, represent your gym. So you got a lot, carrying a lot on your shoulders
you,
going
you
into
know,
these.
hey, you know what? I'm honestly really happy things happened the way they did because I think too many times fighters and things like that, we put a clock in our head of when we want to have something done. I want to be pro by this. I want to have this record by this. I want to be in the UFC by this time. I want to be fighting for whoever by this time. And fighting is such a like unpredictable sport. You can't have these timetables. You just can't. And I was so big on that. Like when I was 18, I wanted to have my first fight,
Yeah,
and my first year, I was 18 years old. I had 5 guys back out of fights, and in 1 year, and so I didn't get to fight, and so it's like, you know, and that happens,
yeah,
and that's nobody's fault or nothing. And I let it get in my head and all this stuff, and then on top of that, something else you can't do is you can't predict is injuries, and I've had a lot of injuries and stuff. Um, I had 2 knee surgeries, had chest surgery. I partially tore my meniscus in my right knee, and luckily I got that to heal on its own. So just all these injuries and setbacks. But honestly, I'm kind of glad they happened the way they did because now I'm at an age, people they don't talk about it all the time. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be ready to win. Sometimes people aren't mentally ready to win,
yeah,
And I mean, I won my first 2 fights, and then I tried to fight my fight at heavyweight, and man, huge mistake. I was too big. I was so heavy.
yeah,
Oh my god, I gassed out in that fight. And I fought a really game fighter too. Jackson Ross was no joke. You know what I mean? Um, and so pop to him. He won that fight fair and square. But yeah, and I wasn't ready. That wasn't the weight class for me. And I knew that kind of going in. I was debating with myself, but you know, but now where I'm at my age, I'm actually really happy with the way everything's playing out because um, I'm old enough and I'm mature enough now to be ready for all this success that is about to come my way. I'm ready for the wins. I'm ready for the big tournaments. I'm ready for the big W's and things like that. So, and because now I can train the way I want to, I took almost 2 years off specifically to work on my body.
yeah,
Jiu-jitsu and training took kind of a back burner. And dude, I was hitting the weights hard. I started training at Ford's Fitness here in Lexington. It's a big old school meathead gym, man. And it actually just got purchased by my buddy Ryan. They got a new owner and he's souping the place up. And that's where I do all my strength and conditioning. And man, I've just got a good team of guys in there. My buddy Justin Davies, he actually plays seventh. At nationals for amateur bodybuilding. So I train with that guy. One of my buddies, Will Mobley, he is like one of the naturally strongest power lifters I've ever seen in my life. And so I've had a lot of really good mentors over there to just teach me how to lift, how to build muscle, how to put these things on my body to take the tension off my ligaments and my joints and things like that. So I pushed hard on my body, man, lifting weights, getting in shape, strength and conditioning, getting my body. Well, I actually pushed too hard on the strength, got too much muscle. Now we're working on now I learned, okay, this is the right amount of muscle for me. Now the conditioning, get the right, well, because my cardio was always good. Then I put all that muscle on, took the cardio away. So
yeah,
now got to find the happy medium in there. And, I'm really thankful that I did that, honestly, though. I wouldn't, yeah, you wish you would have won, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You wish you could have won the fight. It happens, but it taught me a lot of lessons. It taught me how to manage my weight, taught me how, um, taught me balance, the things I need physically to be able to compete at a high level, not at a professional level. Because technically I'm there. I've went
yeah,
and trained at some of the best gyms in the world. When I went out to trials, I was training at Extreme Couture, Syndicate MMA. I went down to American Top Team. I've been to some big name gyms, man, and I hang with those guys. And that's also I get a lot of high praise from them. And so, taking that praise and those compliments, like I know I'm there technically. It was just about the physically. So I got to get my
yeah,
body physically right. And I did that. And so, yeah, I'm really happy with everything played out, man. I'm happy with where my career is going right now. I'm happy at the age that it's happening at too, because now I have the mental maturity to do the things I need to do, to show up to
yeah,
the gym when I need to, be here for this. I know before I thought I was training hard. I was like, yeah, man, I'm training hard every day. No, 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 no. This is how you train hard. I've got the chance to train with some big time pros. You know what I mean? And even though Rob, your coach, he tells you all these years, he's always telling you how you should train, and you're like, okay, yeah. And I'll be honest, my relationship with Rob goes off the mat too. He's
Yeah.
always been like a big brother figure. You know what I mean? He's always been there for advice and life advice, things like that. So sometimes, it's just like your parents. They tell you something and you hear it, but you don't listen.
Yeah.
And Rob, he always tells me, and I hear it, I listen. Sometimes I'll be listening. He doesn't think I do, but I do. But and I do listen. But sometimes it helps when you have a little pop, a little. Sometimes you got to hear it from someone else. And I think I heard Nick
Yeah.
Saban say that. Nick Saban would bring guys like Kobe Bryant into practice. He'd bring in some NFL player or some famous golfer. Someone who was big time in their league, and to come and they would say the exact same thing that Nick Saban was saying. So some of these guys have told
Then
me,
it clicks.
yeah, some of these guys are telling me the exact same thing that Rob has been telling me since I was 14 years old. But sometimes you just need a little reinforcement,
Yeah.
and you just need a different voice. And sometimes it comes through. But I wouldn't trade my coach for anyone. That's actually the only reason I'm still in Lexington. If it wasn't for Rob and my belief in him, I would have left and went to a big name gym at this point.
Yeah.
I'd be in Vegas training at Extreme, or I'd be in Florida trying to make it at an American Top Team or Killcliff or somewhere like there. But I believe in what we have here. And I'm also a firm believer in, and that also takes a lot though too, because you got to have the right people. Like I've trained at a lot of these big name places, so I've seen the big time coaches. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I've met them. I know them. Just 2 years ago, I was down in Florida. I got to train with Mike Brown down there at American Top Team. I got to do a couple private lessons with him. It was awesome. So I know what a great coach looks like,
Yeah.
and I have that in Rob. And so not everyone gets that advantage though. Just because you're in some small town place, I will hate to break it to you. It doesn't mean that you are at the right place though. And
Yeah.
so you might need to travel and look elsewhere and see, okay, is what I got going on back home as good as here? I've been to those places. I know what I got going on here. I'm not saying don't cross train. You should always cross train. I think it's good. Um, I cross train all the time. I love it. I travel up to Columbus to train at Immortal MMA all the time with Matt Brown. I love that place. I love those guys. They're awesome. It's like my second home up there. Um, and I see those guys and how high level they are, and I know Rob is on that level of coaching, and I definitely know the room we're building is getting on that level. So there's no need for me to leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
The only thing we need is opportunity. That's the only thing you get out of those big name places sometimes. And, same with jiu-jitsu. A lot of the big name tournaments, they happen typically on the West Coast. So it's easier to fly out there. You know what I mean? If it's a little bit
Yeah.
closer or something like that. So you don't get those opportunities out here as much, and again, that comes down to a lot of finances and stuff. I get it. But yeah, man, we got the right thing going on here. I've been with all the big names. I know my coach is just as good as any of them. And all the things he's been teaching me and stuff, everything I've learned is finally, I'm hitting that age. I'm mature enough. I really kind of realize, and everything's starting to click. I think it's starting to click at the right time. And yeah, and my goal with this fight, is go out there, win, and do my thing. And we're actually still working on our way down. 205 is not going to be where I make my home. We're going to try to make our way to 185, and then see how I feel there amateur wise,
Yeah.
and then we're going to do some trial cuts, and we're going to see before I turn pro. We're going to see how 70 and 55 feel, because I'm a really big guy, but my frame is not. Like, if you see me in person, like, you'll be like, yeah, I'll be like, oh shit, you're big as fuck. I'm like, yeah, but then when I went to American Top Team, I was standing, literally side by side with Dustin Poirier at one point, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, hang on, maybe this is like where I need to be, because
Yeah.
like,
This man fights at 55 and he's bigger than I am.
dude, he was huge.
Yeah.
He was like eye level with me. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, we're built kind of the same. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to look into this. And it was the same. I met Gary Tonin too, and I was like, Gary Tonin fights at 155 too. I was like, this guy's big as shit. I was like,
Yeah.
I need to look into it. And then golly, wait till you meet somebody who fights at like middleweight. You're like, Jesus Christ, well, what are you doing at this? What you're almost
I met
200.
Rumble. I met
What?
Rumble Johnson,
Oh my God.
and I was probably I was probably 260 at the time. This man was bigger than me. I mean, we were like same height.
Yeah.
Man, his shoulders were like massive compared to mine, chest massive,
Yeah.
bigger arms. I'm like, man, I'm 260. This guy's bigger than I am, fights at welterweight. What in the world, man?
Yeah.
And I know he was having issues making welterweight.
Yeah.
But he was getting there. He missed. He get to 175 or something. But yeah, that was right before he fought Koscheck because me and my buddy were.
I remember that.
We thought Koscheck was kind of annoying, and we were telling him like, "Man, you need to call out Koscheck."
Yeah, dude. Weight classes are so crazy, because there's no right way to do it.
Yeah.
You got your guys like Frankie Edgar. He walks around like 5 pounds overweight, if that. He goes home, he wakes up, takes a piss, and then walks to weigh-ins, and he's on weight. And that guy was high level. You can't tell that guy he wasn't good. What he did was wrong. But then, and I hate the term weight bullies, but it is what it is. You've got your guys like your Paulo Costas who are walking around at 230 and they fight at 185.
Bajeda. Yep.
Yeah, and then you've got your Khabibs and your Dustin Poiriers, your guys who walk around at 185, 195, maybe even 200 sometimes, and they're fighting at 55, And so it's like, but, they're lean and they can make the weight and they get the water out. And so it's like, I don't like the term weight bully, but like, because if you can make the weight, you can make the weight. Like, hey, whatever.
Yep.
But, weight classes, man, it's just a weird thing. And so it's like, I think about fighting 85 amateur, that's totally fine. Maybe even 205, absolutely fine. But then if you fought at 85, I don't know, let's say I eventually fought for an amateur title, you know what I mean? We're talking about a guy who's fighting at 85. He's probably going to fight at 85 pro.
Yeah.
And now you're getting into the top tier and the huge guys. It's like, okay, like you really need to start thinking about, your height and your body frame and stuff like that too. And that's something that I did listen to Rob on, and we're starting to dial it back because I had some thoughts there for a while. I was getting huge and big and I loved it and I was strong. I was like, man, I'll fight at heavyweight. I had my one fight at heavyweight gassed out. I was like, all right, you're right. I'll go to 85.
Yeah.
But we'll go to 85. We're going to do this fight at 205 just because I want to get active. I want to get in there. I didn't care if it was at heavyweight or at light heavyweight because I'm in shape now. My body mass index compared to my last fight at heavyweight is absolutely insane. I actually weigh more now than I did for my fight at heavyweight. I just am in 10 times better shape, way less body fat. My training has been on point. I'm in the gym twice a day sometimes, unless I'm working that night because I work night shift. But I'm there in the mornings. I'm busting my ass. I'm hitting the gym. I'm hitting the weights. Hitting the pavement. We're good to go conditioning wise. So, but yeah, I'm ready to get in there and just get active. That's my big thing. I want to stay consistent. I want to stay active. Is the big thing for this year. I don't want no more hiccups. I've been doing that knees over toes guy stuff. If you ever watch him, he's some dude, a bunch of knee surgeries. I've been following him. I've been doing my knees over toes guy stuff, trying to keep my knees and my body just from where I'm training so much. Making sure these injuries don't happen again. So now I'm doing injury preventative stuff, making sure it doesn't happen again, because your best ability is availability. And without that, you don't have it. That's why, I'm 28 years old. I've been training since I was 14, but I've only got 3 fights, because I just can't stay healthy. But now we're healthy. We're taking our training, our strength and conditioning training seriously, taking my recovery seriously. And so I'm ready to go now.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it goes, man. Looking forward to seeing you fight next Saturday. Looking forward to seeing your team grow. And like you said, you guys you're competing a lot in jiu-jitsu. You're trying to build that team up to where your professor's just as good as you get at what USA kickbox or whatever American top team, American Kickboxing Academy, Extreme Couture. You've got that coach. In a few months, you're going to have that facility. It's going to be a big destination for fighters. I'm probably going to start seeing a lot of fighters come to this area for that gym. I mean, some of them already are, but it's going to be on another level with that new facility. And then got guys like you, like Ryan, John, Kendall, Ethan, all the guys fighting, all the grapplers. I don't know their names, but all the grapplers you have that are going up to that next level.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man, and I'm really gonna put put Kentucky on the map as a combat sports destination as well. And maybe around a team like that, we'll start getting some of those bigger tournaments coming to this
Mm-hmm.
area. We get AGF, we get Fuji,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll start seeing some of the others kind of pop
Mm-hmm.
up in the area because we've got the gyms in Louisville. Louisville's got the jiu-jitsu, those big jiu-jitsu gyms too. So now that we'll have it Louisville, Lexington, it could blow up, man.
Yeah, that's the goal. And something that if you want to look at, this is the best indicator, I think, of a good coach is so when you look at this fight card, look at everyone on the card, right? And whether it be our youngest guys, which are going to be like Ethan and Grant, and then you look at me and like John, who are our most seasoned guys. Every single one of us has been built from the ground up from Rob. There's your call sign of a good coach. Is someone who can do it. We've got guys who are 18, 19 fighting. We got guys who are 28, 26, 27 fighting. And there's huge age gaps, different times we were there, but the success level is still going to be the same.
Yeah,
So that's something, if you want to really start looking at it, all our guys built from the ground. We didn't steal these guys from any other gyms. You know what I mean? They didn't, most of these guys, they came here like they didn't know. Ethan didn't know how to throw a right hand when he got here. You know what I mean? Neither did Grant.
yeah.
And now these kids, I mean, I'm telling you that, they're going to put on a show. And you want to talk about grappling? Dude, I got some studs. Did you get, I don't know if you got Josh Taylor a grappling match or not. I
No,
can't remember.
he's on the list.
Okay.
I think I'm still looking for something.
If he gets one, stud. The one you're going to the one everyone's going to be freaking, I already know your jaws are all going to drop. Little redhead kid, Colarius. Yeah, that kid.
Yeah, we've got him matched. Yeah,
Yeah, everybody's going to be like this. Watching his jiu-jitsu. That kid's
yeah.
sick. He's about 5'4", 165 pounds. Beats the shit out of me every day. Okay,
I've seen him at the gym. Yeah,
dude, he's a stud, man. I love that kid. And he's a pure jiu-jitsu guy. That kid, submission grappling, no gi, that's his thing. You can come here. I don't care how big you are. You can get the smoke from that kid. He's awesome. And but yeah, Cole's fantastic, man. Watch out for that name on the card for sure. But yeah, and again, built from the ground up. All those guys, all our grapplers, everybody here was built in house. We didn't
yep,
go somewhere and be like, man, this kid had some talent. We got the no. We can take kids with no talent and you can make them good fighters, and that's a
yep,
sign of a good coach. You know what I mean? And now talent is a broad word and a broad spectrum because who knows what the fuck that is? You know what I mean? Because you can be a good athlete and have no talent for fighting.
yeah,
It just happens. You can be a freaking pud. You can be a pussy. You know what I mean? You take one punch
yeah,
and, well, there goes that athleticism. You know what I mean? But we've got kids who are talented fighters. These kids got run on straight gumption sometimes. You know what I mean? They're in there training their ass off, busting their butts. But yeah, you want to look at a good sign of something? Look for the guys who are built from the ground up. You know what I mean? And that's your key right there
yep,
to see like where you're at. If you're somewhere good, was this guy built here at this gym? Oh yeah, okay, for sure. You know what I mean? That's when you really start, get into your John Donahers and guys like that. They built all them boys from the ground up. You know what I
yep,
mean? They'll always be going around. They'll always be the first to tell you. People like, yeah, I was kind of an average, shitty purple belt, and then he met John Donaher, and then he really started training with John Donaher more, and now he's the best of all time. You know what I
yep,
mean? That's what a good coach can do for you. Gary Tonin built in house. You know what I mean? Those guys, people forget about that sometimes. You know what I mean? But then it just so happens that those guys, they can not only, if you're built in house, that's great. But if you already have talent, you can come out of there and go there and be even greater.
yep,
So, and I think that'll be something that happens with Rob very soon. Is once we start making it up to those levels, because of his mind and how it works for fight. Because and I don't know if he's gonna get to see this or not, but like nobody, like I don't give a shit what he says. I know he loves jujitsu. He is not nearly as good of a coach for jujitsu as he is as a fighter. This guy, he's a great jujitsu coach.
Yeah.
He's leagues above not everyone in Kentucky, but in the South region, the Midwest, as an MMA coach, knowing how to strategize for a fight, knowing how to have high fight IQ, knowing now, and that's the funny thing is as good as he's got at jiu-jitsu, it just made his MMA coaching even better. And
Yeah.
so it was like, no matter, I don't care what he says, I don't care no matter how much he does, his MMA coaching is so insane because everyone forgets this too. He's a black belt and he's a high level black belt.
Hmm.
He started boxing when he was like 12 or 13 or something like that, okay? Like, you can catch the hands if you ever want them. Like that dude hits like a fucking truck, okay? And but he's also just good. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And he knows how to put it all together. Some guys do, some guys don't. He just knows. And because there's never been a moment, and because I've been around a long time, I typically have a lot of answers to a lot of questions. But even sometimes I'm like, let me ask it, even in this camp, I've been doing stuff, doing my MMA, get back into my grapple box. I'm like, coach, I'm on the wall, I'm doing this, yada, yada. And he goes, oh, yeah, do this, push this way, go like that. I'm like, oh, son of a duh. You know what I mean? He's such a good MMA coach. It's not even funny, man. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to be a good top tier, high level MMA fighter, Rob Nickerson's your guy.
Yeah.
And listen, he'll make you really good at jiu-jitsu too. But you put the small gloves on, he can make you good at boxing. He can make you good at kickboxing. He can make you good at. He's never wrestled a day in his life, and he's really good at fucking wrestling. It really pisses me off. But he got really good at that somehow. I don't know how. I don't know who you're talking about wrestling, but he got really good at it. And then, yeah, and then obviously his jiu-jitsu is great. He can. There's something going on in the noggin that
Yeah.
just he clicks. He's a really good boxing coach. He's a really good jiu-jitsu coach. But then when you mix it all together, that motherfucker just knows how it's supposed to go. And that's I don't know. He just got to get some people got to get for it. Some people don't. And
Yeah.
it reminds me a lot of Mike Brown. Honestly, when I went down to train with him, and I got to sit and talk and trade ideas, and I was sitting there, and I was like, Mike, I was like, what do you think about this? And because I did a lot of wall wrestling training with him, that was my thing. I wanted to really learn Mike's. I know Mike Brown is the wall wrestling guy, and if you want to be a good professional, think about MMA like this, like the UFC. It's the wall wrestling championship of the world. That's
Yeah.
really all it is. And because jiu-jitsu is really nice, but it changes when you have a boundary. It changes when when you can't take weight a certain way and things like that. So you gotta know how to be able to use that wall. And but when I was down there just trading all those ideas with Mike and learning his thoughts on how to go from striking to go to wrestling to go to your grappling on the ground, all the same shit that Rob's got going on in his head. I'm like, dude, this fucking now maybe some different techniques in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe use this instead of this, and that's okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But that dude knows what to do in almost every situation. And it's his top. There's something too. I noticed when I went to Extreme Couture out there, they were doing the pro sparring, and Eric, the head coach out there, I don't want to say his last name, I'll slaughter Eric Nikic. I think that's how you say it. But so they're doing the pro sparring, and he's calling the stuff out. And I don't think Eric has a kickboxing background at all or anything like that. I know he's just been in MMA forever, and he is weird. Like if he's never like when Strickland fought Izzy.
Mhm.
He's never been to that level of kickboxing that Izzy has. But Izzy, after the fight, told Sean, he said, man, he said, your coach was in there saving you because Eric was calling out everything Izzy was going to do before he did it. Now, that probably has a lot to do with film. That guy takes his job extremely
Yeah.
seriously, and he probably watched and he knew a lot of tells and things like that. But Rock can do that. It's really weird. He he knows kickboxing, never really been like a high level like kickboxing guy. He's more of a boxing bitch, right? But he knows when someone is about to, he can like call it and see it before it happens. He's like, oh, wait, hang on. There's about to be a 3-2 leg kick, calf, just some shit. You know what I mean? And he can see it and he can call it and he can tell it to you just
Yeah.
like that. He did it. I remember my last fight, he did it. And it was so weird because I threw a punch and I missed. and he goes, he called that a combo, and sure enough, I missed the first two punches, and I landed the third one, and he wanted to. It was just something that he saw. He was
Yeah,
like, "Throw it!" I just heard it. I like a robot. I just threw it, and sure enough, the last one landed. You know what I mean? Now that son of a bitch had a head made of concrete, so it just didn't go down. But um, but yeah, he's got this weird. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what this term is, but it's like he can just see it happening. He knows what he like can predict the future. Like he knows so much MMA that he just knows
yeah,
what a guy's about to do. He can see an opening for something, and he just calls it out, and it's really weird. Like I don't know how he does it. Like he's good at jujitsu with it too, but he, like I said, I don't care if he sees this or not. Like he is fantastic at it with MMA. Like
yeah,
as soon as those small gloves come on and you're in a cage, that dude just knows what fighting is. And it like, and that like
yeah,
he's the ultimate like comfort for like guys like us, like because we can just. Now I will be honest, I've noticed he really doesn't say anything for about a minute and a half with my fights because I'm gonna kind of do my thing for about a minute and a half before I really start listening, and then so I'm kind of a wild child, but then once I get like settled in and stuff, then he'll
hmm
start throwing some stuff in there, and then I'll start listening.
yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, man.
It that's going to help because you guys have a lot of guys coming up that are about to go into MMA right now. I know your MMA team is growing there, so
Mm-hmm.
you've got your yeah, you've got your veterans. A lot of you guys fighting on this card. You got a couple guys making their debuts. I know he's told me there's a lot of guys that are about to start fighting out of the gym,
Yep.
and I'm excited to see it, man. To see all the reaction guys competing again.
Yeah, me too, man. It took a while to build the fight team back up. You know, like I said, we went real jujitsu heavy, but we got a real good group of guys, man. A lot of good kids. They're showing up. They're working hard, and that's all you can ask for. You know, like I said,
Yeah,
we don't care about how talented or potential you have. You know what I mean? Like when Ryan Bryant came to us, that dude was like 300 pounds. He tried to bite somebody his first day in the gym. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that dude
just they're bench
talent.
pressing everybody.
Yeah, dude, that guy had zero talent. You know what I mean? And now look at
Yeah,
him. He's a freaking stud. You know what I mean? Now he's a stud. He's one of my main training partners, you know?
I rode with him one day, and the one thing I remember about Ryan is because I could put him on his back, but I couldn't keep him there, like
No.
not for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And um, his ability to scramble at that size was kind of crazy. I thought.
Buddy, he's
You
getting
just, I
better
mean, you
now.
could not keep him on his back. And
No.
because I was the same way whenever because I was never that good at jujitsu. I was just really good at not staying on my back. And
Yeah.
Ryan and I went for like, I don't know, a 6 minute round. And it was just like one of us would get to mount, the other would get to mount. It was just back and forth. And he was still a white belt then. And
Yeah.
I know he's blue now. So
Yep.
and that was probably mid 2022, like March, April, May 22, something like that. So,
Yeah.
yes, I don't know. I see that he's evolved well beyond that now. And, but yeah, even at that point, him being a white belt, I was like, man, I can't keep, I was 280 pounds. I don't know. He was maybe 240 at the time, but like could not keep him on his back. And I have a good top game.
Yeah. Well, buddy, it's harder now. So I work with that dude every day. And honestly, I'm starting to slow down some of the shit I show him. I'm like, all right, this fucker's getting like in there. He's getting kind of good. I need to chill with him. But yeah, man, we got a solid group of guys. I'm so pumped to be able to fight on the card with them too. That
Yeah.
was my big because we got a lot of young guys fighting on the card and competing. So for me, it was really big to be in the back and be there and like show everyone kind of how you go through the motions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is how you do it. Come in, relax, and then for me to go. Obviously, I asked you if I could go first because of like my other obligations.
Got to get to work.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but it's also good. I always believe leaders should lead from the front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now get to go out there, see me go out there, set the tone for the boys, and you know, really kind of hopefully get their nerves calmed after my fight, and especially showing them how I deal with the fight.
Yeah.
So because that some of that it's the fighting is some of the stuff that you just don't talk about. It's the things that it's the little things. You know what I mean? Making sure you have all your shit together. Make sure you got your hands are taped. Making sure you got your cup, got your gear, everything's good to go. Make sure you got a good warm up. in the back.
Yeah.
You know, making sure you're warming up on time because these fights, sometimes you don't know when the next one's going to end. You know, you could be 6 fights away, and these amateur fights, you'd have 3 knockouts in a row or
Yeah.
3 quick subs and then 2 decisions and then boom, a fast knockout. So it's like, you never know. You know, at pro, you have a general idea how fast the fights are going to go. The skill level's a little higher, more feeling out processes and stuff. Way less first round finishes than typically. But yeah, like all that stuff, you know, that nobody tells you about. You know, you talk about being in the cage. Well, you don't talk about the stuff before the cage. You don't talk about getting a good parking spot at the venue. You know what I mean? All this other stuff, just how to be tried, how to do this, how to do that, you know. So I'm really excited to be there for the boys in terms of that sense. You know what I mean? It'll be nice to have John there too, because he's done it. Me and him have been talking about this for weeks now, getting to fight on the same because we live together. You know, I've been sitting up here in the kitchen when you were downstairs doing his interview in the basement. So, you know, we're pumped to do this together just as friends because he's been around for a hot minute now with me.
Yeah.
And so it'll be good for me and John to be there, you know, both looking to get a big dub for the house, but set the tone for the boys, show them how things are supposed to be done, and go out there and just kind of do what Reaction does best and get a bunch of W's.
Yep. Well, man, we've been, I was thinking we'd be on here 15 minutes. We're at 56.
Yeah.
So,
people love me for the interviews, man. I'm here. I can carry it. I'm a talker, man. So
I was telling you, I was like, dude, I'm the worst podcaster. I get on here and 5 minutes in, I'm looking for a way out.
Don't worry, brother. Hey, listen, that's okay because I'm here for all that stuff.
You carried it. You carried it.
I'm a showman. That's what I do. You know, I gotta carry stuff, and that's what it is. And so, and then this coming Saturday, hopefully go out there, put on a show for everybody. And it's no secret how I'm going to try to win the fight, and we're going to go out there, do our thing, and just put on a show.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to it, man. We'll see you Friday at the weigh-ins and Saturday night at the fights. You want to throw out one last thing to your friends, followers, co-workers, whoever you got watching?
Yeah, so I'm going to make sure that I share the link again for everybody, on Facebook, and then on my Instagram too, and also on my X. I don't know a lot of people who are on X anymore, but I'll make sure I share it there too. But yeah, make sure you guys click the link. I'm going to share it again on Facebook for New Line. Go on there, buy your ticket on there. Go down to Choose Fighter. Make sure you choose your boy, Walker Keaton. That way, Keith knows that like all 500 people that are coming there to see me fight, they know you came there for me. So, but yeah, other than that, man, I'll see you guys next Saturday.
Yep. If you can't make it, we have a pay-per-view. It's going to be on our YouTube page. Join to become a member. Choose the live pay-per-view level so you can watch it because there are multiple levels. It's on there.
Okay, I'll make sure I share that too with it then.
Yeah, there's 2 options. You got the live pay-per-view level, $24.99. Watch it live. If you choose early access level, it's $2.99. That gives you'll get the pay-per-view 1 week after the event. So then it will be free on YouTube after a month. So
awesome.
Yeah, several ways to watch it. Yeah, Walker, thanks for coming on. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Yep. For whoever's stuck around with us this long, thanks for watching. All right.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks.